All right, hello everybody. So now we're gonna react to how the U.S. military smoked Russian mercenaries. So I saw a small clip of this that wanted me to see this, and from what I got from that 20-second clip was that the U.S. got attacked by Russian people, like Russian mercenaries, and one of the generals of the U.S. side called Russia hey, do you have any people there? Because they're attacking us, and they lied and they're like, no. So then he's like, okay, say no more. And then the U.S. general called, the Air Force called everybody, and they slaughtered. They literally went and dropped bombs, everything. They just went at them, and then Russia. They called back Russia. It was like, oh, well, if you had any people over there, they're all gone now. It's kind of,
What? I'm so
it's kind of like
confused.
saying, don't fuck with us. It's like kind of like saying
Wait, so who attacked who?
the Russians attacked the U.S.
Oh, okay.
From what I got from the clip. Let's see. Let's see.
When the first vehicle in the convoy suddenly blew up, the Russian mercenaries knew something was wrong. Their objective, to capture an oil field in eastern Syria, was supposed to be a routine mission. The enemy, they knew by then, would have fled long ago at the sight of 500 battle-hardened Russian and Syrian fighters. But instead, the attack had come to an abrupt halt, and explosion after explosion shook the ground. It wasn't long before AC-130 gunships, Predator drones, Apache helicopters, and fighter jets were circling over the battlefield, pounding the attackers from every imaginable angle. What the Russian forces didn't know was that the oil field was not defended by any fighters, but by American Special Operations Forces, supported by the most powerful air force in the world. And so, within a few minutes, the routine mission turned into hell on earth and into one of the deadliest engagements for the notorious Russian mercenary group Wagner. To stop the
So Wagner was from the Russians. The Russians were supposed to go and get an oil field, like in Syria. That's what technically a lot of the war back in a lot of the wars like the Iraq War and all that stuff. Yes, there were a lot of crazy fucked up people over there, but I mean that's everywhere. Like even us in the US, we have a lot of fucked up people, and a lot of the stuff was for oil. So the Vanguard, they were gonna go and get like a what's it called, or like a oil. They said oil or something, like a refinery or something,
Yeah.
but it was already taken by the U.S. The Russians thought Russian Vanguard, they thought they were gonna go and take it from the people that lived there, but it was already protected by the U.S. They didn't know that, so when they started attacking the U.S.
Oh.
The rapid advance of the self-proclaimed Islamic State, the U.S. had deployed troops in Syria since 2014. They supported the so-called Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF. A year later, Russia also intervened in the fight against ISIS, but on the side of Assad's Syrian government forces. The SDF and the Syrian army were never seen as allies, but in keeping with the saying, "the enemy of my enemy is my friend," both parties at least mostly avoided each other. After years of fighting, both armies managed to drive out the terrorists, and by 2018, ISIS held only a fraction of its original bases. To prevent an unintended conflict between Russian and US-supported armies, a deconfliction line was formed along the Euphrates River, which effectively bisects Syria. In addition, both parties were able to contact each other through special telephone channels that were kept clear at any time. But despite all these precautions, on February 7th, just a few miles from the Euphrates River, the first deadly clash between Russians and Americans since the Cold War occurred. Late in the evening of February 7th, 2018, 500 Russian and Syrian fighters
2018, that wasn't that long ago. That was 6 years ago.
Damn.
attacked an SDF military base. The base was located about 5 miles east of the Euphrates River and controlled one of the country's main oil fields. Thus, like most oil fields, the area was officially on the Syrian Democratic side of the ceasefire line. But this did not stop the Syrian-Russian troops in any way. The attackers were supported by various Russian-made battle tanks, as well as mortars, artillery, and rocket launchers, with which they began shelling the SDF base without warning. In addition, Russian Air Force aircraft were on standby to provide air support, but initially remained on the ground. However,
So see, the Russians were ready, like Russians, like he just said, fighter jets that are meant to like fly, like all that. You know what fighter jets are, right?
Yeah.
They were ready to go and assist, like drop bombs and shit if they need to. So technically, Russia was in the plan.
Oh.
while everything was initially going according to plan for the attacking forces, the phone suddenly rang in the Russian headquarters near the Euphrates. A representative of the U.S. military was on the line and wanted to know whether Russian fighters were currently trying to take the military base at the Conoco oil fields. Here, not only the Syrian Democratic Forces were under heavy artillery fire, but also their allies, American Green Berets, Army Rangers, Marines, and various support units. After the Russians had explicitly denied the question whether the enemy were their troops, it was clear to the caller. Whoever was currently taking fire at his soldiers, he would feel the full force of the American military in just a few moments.
So see, the U.S. military called Russia, the Russian people that were around there, told them that if you guys were trying to take over our base, like technically we're like the Syrian people were there,
Yeah.
and then the U.S. military, Green Berets and Marines and all Navy people were there, and the Russians said no, there's nobody there. It's not us attacking you guys, which that's a lie, because who else would it be if they already have airplanes ready for like to do that? So say kind of like they said no, it ain't us, and the U.S. say all
So
right,
they were just lying.
yeah. So
Oh.
then the U.S. kind of like, all right, we'll see. It's like, play that game, fine.
The response to the attack on their military base was prompt and tremendous. Even before the Russian convoy reached its starting position for the attack, the first and last vehicles were taken out in a classic ambush maneuver, trapping the forces in the middle. The missiles came from an American Reaper drone, which had been targeting the convoy for some time. However, to the Russian
You know, so these are do you know what these are? So these are drones. These drones, it's like somebody like in an army base is just flying them, like a video game flying them,
Yeah.
and they could just go anywhere, and they could literally just drop bombs. And if they shoot it down, they're not killing anybody because there's nobody in it.
Oh.
Wagner mercenaries on the ground, the drone was invisible, and they had a hard time understanding where the fire suddenly came from. It didn't take long for more shells to hit, spreading chaos on the battlefield. American artillery and HIMARS rocket launchers engaged the convoy, inflicting numerous casualties. While the Russian forces were still trying to realize what was happening, 4 Apache helicopters appeared on the horizon. Although the gunships were several miles away, no one could hide from their precise infrared optics. The laser-guided Hellfire missiles found their target in the Russian battle tanks, while the 30mm cannon forced the enemy infantry to withdraw. Few of them were able to escape the explosive shells, and a Russian survivor later reported that they suffered about 200 casualties within the first few minutes, almost half.
200 people died in a couple minutes just because they wanted to play tough guy.
This is so bad though.
But this would have never happened if the Russian people would have just kept on their side.
Well,
It's like how it's like that guy that says fuck around and find out. Well, they fucked around and found out. This would have never happened if they would have just kept on their side.
It's still bad.
I mean, yeah, it's bad, but it's like, what do you expect? What do you expect the U.S. to be like? Yeah, go ahead, kill.
I mean, yeah, you also can't just be like, just let them do whatever.
Exactly, but you expect the U.S. to just be like, all right, go ahead, come kill us, just so we don't kill all 200 of y'all.
I mean, yeah, you could see why.
So in a way, yeah, but it's
Half of the entire attack force. The reports that are on TV about, well, you know, about Syria and the 25 people that are wounded there from the Syrian army, and, well, to make it short, we've had our kicked. So one squadron lost 200 people. Right away, another one lost 10 people. And I don't know about the third squadron, but it got torn up pretty badly too. So 3 squadrons took a beating. The Yankees attacked. First, they blasted the out of us by artillery. And then they took 4 helicopters up and pushed us in a merry-go-round with heavy caliber machine guns. They were all shelling the holy out of it, and our guys didn't have anything besides the assault rifles. Nothing at all, not even mentioning shoulder-fired SAMs or anything like that. So they tore us to pieces for sure, put us through hell. And the Yankees knew for sure that the Russians were coming, that it was us. Russians. Our guys were coming to commandeer an oil refinery, and the Yankees were holding it. We got our beat rough. My men called me. They're there drinking now. Many have gone missing. It's a total It sucks. Another takedown.
So that guy that just said that, that's from like a Russian guy that was there.
Who are the Yankees?
So that's kind of what they call like us Americans, the
Oh.
Yankees, the one, because you know the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why. But it's like he even said it like we weren't prepared. We just had rifles. They just had rifles. They had tanks and all, but their tanks were shit. But by the time they would have got there, by the time they even got to like the precision of starting the thing, their tanks blew up. They were gone. So the soldiers were just there with guns against fighter jets, helicopters, missiles, and all that.
Oh.
But this is why the U.S. did the good thing and called them like, "It's you guys," and then the general said, "No, it's not us."
So they just lied to
So
them.
they lied, and now, like I say, fuck around and find out. And then look, there's
While
more.
AC-130 gunships circled over the battlefield, engaging individual targets,
Okay.
large B-52 strategic bombers completely destroyed the convoy. Those who managed to escape hid in buildings, but even there, they were not safe for long. Late into the night, the attackers were hunted by F-15 fighter jets, whose bombs penetrated even the best cover. The new 5th-generation air superiority fighter F-22 Raptor was also used, but for the soldiers on the ground, it no longer made any difference who was pounding them. The Russian contractors did not stand a chance against the American Air Force. Although there were rumors that some pilots from the nearby Russian air base were asking for permission to take off, the blue-painted Su-34s and 35s remained on the ground. The attackers' casualties were so heavy that in the middle of the battle, one of the Russian commanders called in and asked for a ceasefire, indicating that Russian military was in.
So then for that, in the middle of everything, a Russian guy called the U.S. to like stop firing. But then before all that started, they literally said that there was no Russian people there.
So then that's how they knew that it
Exactly.
was them?
That's
Oh.
like they gave themselves up because they couldn't handle it.
In contact with the attack to take off, the blue-painted Su-34s and 35s remained on the ground. The attackers' casualties were so heavy that in the middle of the battle, one of the Russian commanders called in and asked for a ceasefire, indicating that Russian military was in contact with the attacking fighters after all. A published call from a Wagner mercenary sums up events in Syria.
Look, they're about to say like someone from there.
Just had a call with a guy, so they basically formed a convoy, but didn't get to their positions by some 300 meters. One unit moved forward. The convoy remained in place about 300 meters from the others. The others raised the American flag, and their artillery started ours really hard. Then their choppers flew in and started everybody. Ours just running around. Just got a call from a pal, so there are about 215 killed. They simply rolled ours out hard. Made their point. What the ours were hoping for in there? That they'll run away themselves? Hope to scare them away? Lots of people so bad they can't be ID'd. There were no foot soldiers on the
You
American.
know what that means? They got fucked so bad that you can't ID them.
That they died?
Meaning that they got destroyed so bad that you don't even know who they are no more.
So they didn't die?
No, they died.
Oh, okay.
Like their bodies exploded technically. They're gone into pieces.
Oh, and it's basically like you can't.
You can't ID. You can't know
You don't know
who's
who
who.
that is.
American side, they simply our convoy with artillery. When the battle ended early next morning, there was nothing left of the convoy of vehicles. All combat vehicles have been destroyed, with the exception of a single battle tank and armored personnel carrier. Of approximately 500 Russian and Syrian attackers, at least 200 were killed or wounded. One of the mercenaries later reported that in some places they found solidified melted sand and gun barrels bent from the heat. There were no casualties on the American side and no reports of damaged aircraft. Only one of the SDF soldiers in the base at the oil field was wounded by Russian fire, but survived. The incident sparked outrage on both Russian and Syrian sides, but since the Americans had
So literally, Russia lost again. Literally, they lost what, 200? He said 215 people. 215 people, and on the other side, they only technically shot one person, and he survived.
Oh my gosh.
repeatedly reassured themselves through the Russian officials they could not be blamed. According to intercepted phone calls between the leader of Wagner and Russian ministers, the attack was even said to be an order from Moscow. For Wagner Group fighters, the Battle of Conoco Fields went down in history as Red February and was one of their most humiliating engagements. At least some of them received a medal specially made for this event. It shows a Russian soldier surrounded by flames, heroically shooting at an American Apache helicopter. A scene that probably never took place in this way. The Syrian Democratic Forces and their American allies had successfully defended the base at the oil field and continued to fortify it. The demonstration of their superior air power was meant to be a warning to any hostile forces not to mess with the wrong people. Interestingly, when Syrian and Russian fighters gathered in the area again about a month later, the Americans once more contacted the Russian commander in charge. This time, it was not long after the end of the phone call that the entire Russian-Syrian fighting force hastily withdrew. For those who made it this far, thanks for watching. If you want to help us produce more content, feel free to leave a like and tell us what you think of the attack on the US base. Did the Russian military know it was their own mercenaries and deliberately sent them to their deaths? Or is it just another big misunderstanding due to the fog of war? Whatever you think, we're eager to hear your opinion.
So what do you think?
Well, I was very
Crazy, huh?
very crazy.
Do you think they were all, the Russians were into it, like it was planned out, or do you think it was like, oh, I fucking let them go and die?
Let who die?
Let the group of men, the Wagner people, let them go and die.
I feel like it was planned.
But the thing I don't understand is like, why, like, if the U.S. is gonna call and be like, hey, we're supposed to like how I said, there was that line of divide, like Russia and then like all that.
Yeah.
Why Russia crossed the line, tried to get the oil field, which was taken, and then the U.S. calls and he's like, hey, we're right there. Are you shooting at us? And then clearly
They said no.
the Russians said no, which is like, idiot. Why the hell would you say no?
Wait, but if he said yes, would they have like stopped or what?
Well, then he would have been like, okay, then stop shooting at us because we're here.
Yeah.
I feel like the Russians said no, we're not shooting at you guys, so they didn't think nothing of it, and they thought, like the other Russian guy that talked, he's like, oh, these guys thought that the U.S. was just gonna turn around and just like, oh, like leave. It's like, how the fuck do you
But
think
they didn't. They started shooting
exactly? It's like, but it's like, it's the common sense. You really think the U.S. is gonna be like, okay, you attack us, so we're just gonna let you, like, we have the best military in the world.
Yeah.
Like, there's no military that can beat the U.S. No, never.
I feel like Russia was dumb to do that. But like, honestly, like they could have just said it, because either way they were gonna they were gonna find out who it was.
Exactly.
So they should have just like stopped all of that in the beginning.
Exactly. They should when the U.S. called and said, "Hey, someone's shooting at us. Is it you guys?" They should have like, yeah, sorry, we this is what we thought. We thought it was just an oil field. No
Yeah.
one was in it no more,
Like, how could
and just
they?
end it.
How could they think it was just gonna be like fine? Cause like, shouldn't they know
Exactly.
that they're like the best? Like,
Exactly.
so.
But at the same time, Russia. I mean, I don't think they're the smartest. Look what's going on right now.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's sad what's going on, but it's like, in a lot of ways, it's like, it's not really the people, but it's like the people that run it.
Yeah.
It's always the people that are in command that are the dumbest. Like, even right here with us, it's like a lot of the people that are in command right here in the U.S. is freaking dumb. Same thing as over there. They called the commander, and the commander was freaking dumb. And what did he say? Oh, no, it's not us. If that commander would have said, yes, it's us, are you guys there? And he's like, yeah, you're shooting at us. I guarantee you they're probably, and if they backed out, 200 people would have been saved. But because the commander wanted to have big balls and wanted to be like, show his strength, he fucked around and found out.
Yeah. And then, but then he also like ratted himself out.
Yeah, at the end,
Yeah.
one of the commanders had to call for a ceasefire, which is
Yeah.
like, you literally just prove the other guy, like, you guys were there. It's like stuff that shouldn't even happen.
Yeah. There was no point on happening.
Exactly. Like, you knew you were going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
And especially, too, like how that other guy said, how they didn't have no RPGs. You know RPGs?
No.
Like the thing with the rockets that you shoot like that and it goes and it can like destroy a tank and all that. Like it could lock on. Well, not an RPG, like a SAM. It's like it locks on to like a airplane or something, and it can like literally explode, like shoot a rocket and explode it from the ground. They didn't even have that. All they had was rifles. So how the fuck is a rifle going to bring down a helicopter or a fighter jet? So it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you went in there thinking they went in there thinking it was just going to be something small. Then they get the call that it's like, it's nothing small. And they had the chance. It's like, hey, we're going to give you the chance to like, just back out.
Yeah.
And they still wanted to keep going. That's what I keep saying is we have a bunch of dumbass people that we put in power that is just.
Honestly, if it were somebody else, everything would have been fine. Like,
if it was somebody like a smart, strategic leader, shit like that would probably not happen.
Yeah, but
you got a lot of dumbasses that think because they got a lot of power, they could just do whatever they want.
yeah, but then
Like a lot of even with the U.S. A lot of the U.S. soldiers, like I hear nowadays, like how they say how when they went to fight. They thought it was like fighting against like terrorists and all that, right? Like terrorism, but a lot of them ended up come to find out it was mostly for like oil, like to get oil, like gas and all that.
Oh.
Because that's a lot of there's a lot of oil in the Middle East and stuff like that.
So is that the reason why they were
like they were over there to like control that?
Oh.
Which I've heard like a lot of like Navy SEALs that have said that before. It's like kind of makes you think like, damn, were they really over there to like keep the boogeymen down, which is like all these bad groups?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, in a way they destroyed them, but in a way you lost a lot of your friends, a lot of like American people that went over there fighting for a cause. I don't know. War is just fucked up.
There's no point on it though.
There's no point in war, but at the same time, it's just like the wrong people get in power.
That's why wars happen.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, we gotta watch more videos like this.
They're interesting.
Yeah. All right, people. Please let us know in the comment section. Educate us so we can learn from it. We want to know more about like the military and stuff like that. I read a lot of different books about military. Watch different little podcasts and stuff. So yeah, let us know of other clips that you guys recommend, and yeah, put your 2 cents in the comment section. And thank you, and y'all have a good day.